My name is Luke Wakefield, and I'm a failure. I was born a failure. My parents wanted a girl. Not an unreasonable desire, you might say. But did they have to keep telling me? Failed at birth. A pattern had been set. And sure enough, my life continued to lurch from one catastrophe to another before reaching my greatest failure. Marriage. I shan't dwell on it long because I find it painful. My ex-wife, Connie, left me for another woman. Some vast Australian thing called Stephanie. They live in Brisbane now, which is probably for the best, because the whole episode has left me an angry man with no intention of forgiveness. I know I don't look like a failure. You wouldn't know just looking at me. And of course, I'm enormously rich. But even that was an unlikely accident. My widowed mother remarried an American oil millionaire. The pair of them expired from excitement on the honeymoon, and the fortune came to me. One day, a pauper, and the next a millionaire. If the money had arrived before Connie left, if she had shared in all this, but she didn't. I don't want to think about her. As it is, I live in the lap of aimless luxury, not one jot happier than when I was broke. Moreover, from time to time, I go round the bend. Anyway, it was a Tuesday, the highlight of my week. I visit the post office every Tuesday. It's the day the queues are longest, and I like the business of waiting. In waiting, there is expectancy, a margin of hope, and the promise of contact with other people. Hello. Little angels. We seem destined to meet here every Tuesday.
And you got nothing better to do?
No. For want of something better to do, I began to study the man in front of me. There was something special about him. I felt it immediately. I sensed we might become very good friends.
I'd like one first-class stamp, please.
Only two.
Have you got any nice new stamps?
No.
Oh. Well, I suppose I'll just have 2 airmail letters for Australia, please. I'm writing to my wife, Connie.
Mum, I think you better phone an ambulance.
What happened to him?
I don't know, he just keeled over.
He looks terrible.
I don't know exactly why I took the letter. I was aware that I was committing a felony. But somehow, I sensed it held the key to a brighter future.
Morning, Mr. Wakefield.
It's not nice to be surprised. Shouldn't do it to people. Sebastian Fairbank, 128 Cheney Walk, London, SW3. Marion Fairbank, 128 Cheney Walk, London, SW3. Why is he writing a letter to her if she lives in the same house? Dear Marion Fairbank, how very formal.
Thank you for your letter. I note your advice that I should settle myself into a relationship of sorts, but you know as well as I, my dearest wife, that I am now addicted to living alone. I'm ensnared by my own company. In fact, my dear Marion, the dialogue and argument I have with myself resemble that of any married couple. And I should know, for it was such a dialogue with you that led to my present solitary state. After many months of our bitter correspondence, I am now able to say with all my heart that I am sorry. I have done what no human being should do to another, and perhaps it is only God who can forgive me. This letter must be short, for I'm not feeling in the best of health.
Should have seen a doctor, poor man.
I write expressly to ask your forgiveness, dear Marion, for the monstrous act I have perpetrated against you. Please write soon. With all my love and remorse, Sebastian Furbank.
What monstrous act? Married. Months of correspondence to each other at the same address, and using the government postal service to do so. What possible malice could hatch behind those calm eyes? Sebastian, I think this letter has fallen into the right hands. I know too well the treachery of a wife, but what monstrosity did Marion commit? How can I sleep tonight or any other night while such a mystery remains unsolved? 128 Cheney Walk. Richard. Who's Richard? Mother? Aunt Chrissy and Uncle Ted? Where's the wife's tribute? There's nothing for Marion. It's her husband's funeral, for heaven's sake. Here we go. The old girl must be the mother. The other two, Aunt Chrissy and Uncle Ted? And the smoothie with the roses. Is that Richard? Is that a lot? Not much of a cortege. So where is Marion? That's what I want to know. What deed did Sebastian commit against Marion? The answer's in his house. It must be. The next move's chancy, Luke. You're risking humiliation. Even downright failure again. At times like this, one has to make meticulous preparations. Good day. Quite like summer. A bit cold, though. Might even turn to snow.
Can I help you?
I can't believe it. You see, I've been abroad. So long since I've seen Sebastian.
Very sudden it was. And the wife the same, so Mr. Furbank told me.
Marion?
Oh, I forgot you've been away. Died 6 months ago. I never met her. I came shortly after.
But she can't. I mean, the letter.
It's often the way. Wife dies and the husband can't cope. They say he had a massive heart attack. But I think he wanted to die. You all right? Would you like a glass of water?
Oh, yes, please. Dead? Why would anyone write a letter to a dead woman? How painful it must be for you. My thanks and condolences. Sebastian's mother, is she still alive?
Yes, she'll be here later this afternoon. Would you like me to give her a message?
No. Is she still at the same number?
Yes.
It's the one that's in the book, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, that'll be Richard. Come for his picture. And there's an old friend of Sebastian. Well, he's gone.
Dearest Marion, I have just returned from your funeral.
Dearest Marion, I have just returned from your funeral. But if she's dead...
I killed you, my dearest, as gently as I was able, and buried you where no one will ever find you.
It's a joke. I'm always wishing Connie dead.
I grew to hate you because you made me live a lie, and the self-deception became unbearable. I recall our early days together and the hope I had of our future. I would like to relive those times in this correspondence. You will write to me, I'm sure, dearest one, and we will learn to love each other again. Sebastian Furbank. P.S. I'm sorry your internment in Wimbledon was such a lonely one, but in the criminal circumstances of your death, I could hardly invite witnesses.
That is it. That's it. I'm going straight to the police. Well, go on, then. You've got the proof. The letters. Letters that you stole. Yes, that's such a minor misdemeanor. Surely they'll see beyond that. Go on. Why give the police the pleasure, the glory, the satisfaction of restoring Marion Furbank's body to a decent Christian grave? Fate made me the guardian of the letters. I have to find Marion Furbank. Yes. That's right. Big job you're taking on, Luke. Miles and miles of Wimbledon Common to scour. To say nothing of the tennis courts. She could be tossing in her grave beneath the centre court itself.
Dear Sebastian Furbank, thank you for your letter. I note with regret that you do not even say you are sorry that you murdered me. What is the purpose of this correspondence? I did not make you live a lie, Sebastian. You were always the deceiver. Let's start on the day you proposed to me. I took some persuading, didn't I, Sebastian? The simple girl from Merthyr Tydfil, deep in the Welsh valleys, and frightened of that great London of yours. You told me you would school me in life. You did not mention death, and that was the only lesson you managed to teach me.
Merthyr. A simple girl from Merthyr. Hang on, Marion. I'll find you. I'd like to place an entry into your personal column, sort of a missing person sort of thing. Information sought on the whereabouts of Marion Furbank, last heard of in the Merthyr Tydfil area of South Wales. Then my address. Yes, that's right. You do sell the odd copy in South Wales, don't you? There are people who just sit around and wait for a reply to an advertisement like that. Not me. Wheels are in motion now. It's time to get tough with Sebastian's old mother. Mrs. Fairbank. Mrs. Fairbank. Luke Wakefield. Mrs. Fairbank. Luke Wakefield. I was a friend of your son's wife, Marion. Any idea where she's been hacked up and planted? Mrs.
I look after her as well. Her sister and brother-in-law have taken her off to Florida for 6 months to get over it.
Good old Aunt Chrissy and Uncle Ted.
Mr. and Mrs. Baxter.
Is Richard around?
Richard who?
You know Richard. Everybody knows Rich. Funny old weather.
Who are you? What do you want? I'm going to call the police.
To whom do you wish to speak? Mr. Wakefield? Mr. Luke Wakefield? What a stroke of luck. He just happens to be passing.
A call for me? People know how busy I am. In and out all the time. Hello, this is Mr. Wakefield. Hello. Hello. Hello? No one there.
You see, you dial the first 3 numbers of your number, right? Then you dial... Then... Nobody there. Rung myself.
There wasn't anybody there. Is that funny?
It's just a little trick. Little joke. Help to pass the time of day. Building up a relationship, so to speak.
Do you think I have got nothing to do with my time? Do you honestly believe I sit upstairs all day twiddling my thumbs? Why would I want to phone myself? I have a broad social net. Why do you hide when I come in? I don't like it when you hide. Connie? Connie who? The Connie I used to be married to. What did you say? I'm going to put you on a machine, Connie, dear.
I thought you should know. I'm going to have a baby. I've been artificially inseminated. Lou?
That is well it!
Lou? Stephanie and I wondered if you'd like to be a godparent.
Just when I've got far better things to think about, you pop up to ridicule me. I should have taken a leaf out of your book, Sebastian. I should have killed her! I wouldn't have buried her in Wimbledon. I'd have liquidized her. You have to worm your way into my life at the most inconvenient times, don't you, Connie? Lucy, darling. A box at the opera. With you and Jono and Sissy. Within sniffing distance of Di's deodorant. Oh, I'd love to, but I've got this simply horrendous workload. A woman murdered. Info dried up. Had to bring me in on the case. Looks like I may have to trek down to Merthyr Tydfil. Oh, no, it sounds bloody, doesn't it? But you know me. Turn every stone. Have to pass. Thanks anyway. Ascot. Love to.
My darlingest Marion, Merthyr Tydfil. How beautiful those sounds were in the beginning.
Merthyr Tydfil. Who wants to go to Merthyr Tydfil? Porter, is this the train from Merthyr Tydfil?
Change at Cardiff.
On to what? Camel, mule, light aircraft?
My darlingest Marion, Merthyr Tydfil. How beautiful those sounds were in the beginning. I knew there was an artist called Brian Masters. I knew he had a rare talent. But when I went to Merthyr to buy his paintings, I had no idea that there was a far greater beauty to be found in his studio. You, Marion. And as I write these words, I long for you once again. When I first saw you, I ached for the frail, unfed, unlearned body beneath those loose clothes. I saw you more like a boy, with innocence retained. Richard was with me, and he cautioned me against you. A woman is not like a painting, he said. She fades and blurs and ceases to please. You got fat, Marion. Men have murdered for less.
I don't buy the fat story. One doesn't get killed for being fat, unless you're a turkey. She must have had an affair with the art mentor, Richard. Have you been to Wales before? How long before we get to the border? I'm on the trail of a murderer. Do you like murder mysteries? Would you like to be murdered?
Die top. Kom in de tiebar. Nee, doe eens goed.
Do you know Wales well? I'm going to Merthyr Tydfil, on the trail of a deceased woman. I'm sure everyone in that charming little pit village will know her. Large Scotch, please. Excuse me. I'm looking for the artist's quarter.
He's looking for the artist quarter.
You an artist, then?
Well, I like to think that I...
Visitor, is it?
From London, yes.
Never been there. Been as far as Reading. No stomach for going further. Born and bred in Merthyr. Die, I expect.
You must know it very well.
Every street and pub and family. And the type from your parts. Artists and writers, they call themselves. Take a perfectly good shed and turn it into a studio.
I was looking for one of those. I know he lived here once. He was a painter. I'm not sure of his name. Brian something or other. Masters?
Masters? Brian Masters?
Do you know where he is?
I could take you to him right now. Was the drink that took him. In the end, they was paying him in whiskey for his pictures.
What did he paint?
Cabbages, mainly. Beautiful they were. Did a parsnip once. And he said he wasn't happy with it.
I was looking for a friend of his, a woman he knew, Marion.
Common name round this way.
He must have had friends from London.
Dealers come down like. They weren't his friends. We was his friends. Old Brian wouldn't want mourning. Let's go and drink to his memory.
I'm afraid I have a train to catch.
Oh, never mind then. Don't suppose I'll see you again. I hope you find your Marion.
So do I.
Got inside your head, has she?
Yes. Turned into a sort of crusade for me.
Oh. You're bound to find her then. Careful with crusades, though. Sometimes you find out what you didn't want to know. Happy life to you both when you're reunited.
I hardly think so. She's dead.
Life's full of little puzzles, isn't it?
You see? There was a reason why you woke up in good spirits this morning. Richard. Very pleased to meet you, Richard. Luke Wakefield. Knew Marion as a child at Merthyr, trying to look her up again. Don't suppose you know where she's buried herself.
Just a minute, sir. Would you like to sign the visitor's book?
Touch of Parkinson's.
Oh.
No, it's all right. The pins are fine. Is that it? No. Richard. 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 Is Richard here?
Richard who?
Everybody knows Richard. Sebastian's friend, Richard. Richard Cobham. He must have gone. How did I miss him? Oh, good evening. I wonder if I could speak to Mr. Richard Cobham.
You are?
No, I mean Richard Cobham Jr.
Well, there is no such person.
Don't think that'll wash with me. Preposterous.
I believe you're making a mistake, young man.
You're lying. You've got a son, all right. Why are you hiding him? What do you know? Perhaps a lot more than you're willing to say. Perhaps that your dear, sweet son is involved in the murder of a poor, innocent Welsh girl. Yes, you haven't thought about that, haven't you? Oh, no, that's something new for you. Have you thought about it? No, I don't...
Please? This is 12 Kensington Walk, Chelsea. I have completed a lunatic here, and I'm very worried about him.
No one could care less about the poor dead woman. No, I have to do everything. Everything.
Pardon, sir?
Were you in the Viet Cong by any chance?
Yeah, I've had a visitor.
She left you a message. I've got it on my screens.
Not here. Well, he should be here, because this is the address he put in his advert. So, you tell him this from me. Oh. My name is Marion Furbank, and I'm from Merthyr Tydfil. Now, I've got this all worked out, see? My mum had relations with the Duke. Now, I know that's true because she told us. And I reckon he's dead, and I'm owed something, and you're some sort of solicitor chap who's got my money. Now, I've only come up for the day. My sister lent me the bus fare, and I'll be wanting that back. But I've left my address with him. So, you get in touch with me quick. I am the woman you are seeking. I am Marion Furbank.
Don't have much luck with the ladies, do you?
You are an excessively familiar person. Where would you be without me, Marion? Just a hissing in the ether. Who else can rehabilitate your memory? Who else would crusade to right the terrible wrong done unto you? Who else could unearth the mystery of your death?
Good evening. An unidentified body has been discovered on Wimbledon Common. The corpse of a woman was found in a shallow grave near the Queensmere Lake. According to a police pathologist report, she was in her early 30s and had been dead between 6 and 8 months. The police will be issuing a fuller statement later.
That's my Marion.
The body was discovered by 12-year-old Nigel Pugh, who was walking his dog on the common. Nigel said the dog...
That's my Marion, you horrible little boy.
Come on, officer. What's the story here? Is it murder?
She didn't bury herself. There'll be an official statement in due course.
What about the body?
It would be injudicious to jump to conclusions, but we suspect the dead woman may have been a prostitute. She was wearing a cheap fur coat. We believe her name may have been Mary, Marilyn, or Marion.
Marion Fairbank. A prostitute. Oh, Sebastian, how I misjudged you. It wasn't on a whim that you murdered, but for infidelity of the foulest kind. Sebastian, I toast your courage. I should have done the same to Connie.
Mr. Wakefield's Crusade continues next Wednesday at the same time, 9:40.